right, so today we're going to tackle something pretty out there.
Okay.
We're going to imagine a world completely without technology.
Completely.
Yeah, and I mean completely.
Wow.
No internet, no smartphones,
Right.
no cars,
Mm-hmm.
not even the wheel as we know it.
Okay.
It's
I'm intrigued.
it's a challenge to even wrap our heads around that.
It is.
So to get us started, maybe we can tackle the political landscape first.
Okay.
If we're talking about a world without even basic forms of transportation or mass communication,
Right.
how would governing even work?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it fundamentally changes how power structures emerge.
Okay.
Instead of vast empires or sprawling nations, leadership would likely be hyper-localized.
Okay.
So picture like village elders
Right.
or tribal chiefs making decisions for small, self-sufficient communities.
So instead of presidents and parliaments, we're talking about councils and chieftains.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
But wouldn't that lead to a lot of inconsistencies?
It could.
Potentially conflict
Yeah, and
between these small groups.
that's a really important question to consider.
Yeah.
Is how disputes would be settled.
Right?
And how cooperation would happen between these independent communities.
Yeah, what mechanisms would prevent chaos?
Exactly, in such a decentralized system.
Right.
And, another thing to consider is without technology for mass communication or rapid transport, governing vast areas would be nearly impossible.
Right.
So it makes sense that power would become much more decentralized.
Okay.
We might even see a return to systems that resemble feudalism.
Feudalism.
Yeah, where local lords or chieftains rule their own territories with a degree of autonomy.
Feudalism. It's not exactly a system known for its equality or social mobility, though, is it?
No, that's true.
Yeah.
While a feudal system might offer a level of stability,
Okay.
it could also lead to rigid social hierarchies and potential exploitation.
Right. How would people in this world challenge unfair power structures
Yeah.
or seek justice?
It's a good question.
It's a fascinating area to consider.
Yeah,
And of course, communication would be a major hurdle.
absolutely.
Messengers on foot or horseback
Right.
would be the primary means of conveying information.
Yeah.
It makes diplomacy a very slow and delicate process.
For sure.
I can only imagine the delays and misunderstandings.
Oh, absolutely.
It'd be like playing a game of telephone,
Yeah.
but with much higher stakes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it makes you realize how much we take instant communication for granted.
It really does.
Okay, so we've got a picture of a world with fragmented power structures,
Right.
localized leadership,
Uh-huh.
and snail-paced communication.
Yeah.
Let's shift gears now and dive into what social life would look like
Okay.
for the average person in this tech-free world.
Well, on the surface, it might seem idyllic.
Okay.
Imagine incredibly tight-knit communities where everyone genuinely depends on each other for survival.
Right.
Strong family bonds
Yeah.
would be essential. Neighbors would rely on each other for support.
Okay, I can see the appeal. That
Yeah.
sense of community and belonging.
Yeah.
It's like an extended family, right?
Yeah, but remember, this interdependence comes at a cost.
Oh, okay.
Individual freedom might be significantly limited.
Go.
Family would be the bedrock of society,
Yeah.
with everyone expected to contribute to essential tasks like farming,
Right.
crafting, or maintaining the household.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where your individual aspirations
Okay.
might be secondary to the needs of the community.
So less following your dreams and more doing your duty.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I can see how that could feel restrictive.
Yeah,
Especially for those who value independence.
absolutely.
It makes you question how personal needs and desires
Right.
would be balanced against the needs of the collective. And this close-knit structure would also impact how knowledge is passed down.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Right.
Without schools or the internet,
Yeah.
education would rely heavily on oral traditions, storytelling,
Right.
and apprenticeships.
Exactly.
It's fascinating to think how that would shape the way people learn
Yeah.
and the types of knowledge that are valued.
Absolutely.
Instead of formal education systems, you'd have knowledge being passed down through generations, almost like a living history.
Precisely.
Reading and writing might become specialized skills
Yeah.
held by a select few,
Yeah.
like scribes or priests,
Yeah.
further influencing social dynamics.
Absolutely.
Think about the implications for power and control.
Yeah.
Those who hold knowledge would hold a significant advantage.
Sure.
It's a completely different way of thinking about literacy
Uh-huh.
and its role in society.
It really is.
It really makes you appreciate the access to information we have today,
Yeah.
even if we don't always use it wisely. Okay, so we've got a picture of a world with strong community ties, but also potential limitations on individual freedom
Right.
and a unique approach to knowledge transfer.
Yes.
Let's move on to the economy.
Okay.
What happens to the way we produce, trade,
Yeah.
and value goods and services when you remove technology from the equation?
Right. I think the economy would look drastically different without factories or mass production.
Right.
Agriculture would likely become the dominant force.
Okay.
Most people would be involved in working the land to produce food for themselves and their communities.
So we're all farmers now.
Pretty much.
Back to the basics.
Yeah.
But how would trading work?
That's a good question.
I mean, no online marketplaces?
Right?
Or even currency as we know it.
Yeah.
Would we be bartering chickens for haircuts?
Barter systems
Yeah.
would indeed become the primary mode of exchange.
Okay.
Imagine trading goods and services directly based on their perceived value and usefulness
Right.
within the community.
Yeah.
This would require a high level of trust and negotiation,
Yeah, for sure.
as establishing a fair exchange rate
Right.
for, say, a goat
Oh,
in terms of a pair of shoes
right.
could be quite complex.
That sounds like a recipe for some lively debates in the marketplace.
Oh, absolutely.
But what about the challenges of bartering?
Yeah,
Like the divisibility of goods?
right.
You can't exactly split a cow in half to trade for a smaller item, can you?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And that's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Communities would likely develop creative solutions,
Okay.
perhaps using tokens or other forms of representation to facilitate smaller trades,
Right.
or relying on a system of credits and debts within the community.
Interesting.
Yeah, it would necessitate a highly localized and collaborative approach
Yeah.
to economic exchange.
Okay.
And of course, transportation limitations
Right.
would mean trade routes are restricted to what can be carried on foot or by animal.
So forget about importing exotic spices or luxury goods from far-off lands.
Pretty much.
It'd be all about embracing local resources and ingenuity.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
That really shifts the focus.
It does.
Doesn't it?
It challenges our assumptions about what constitutes wealth and value.
Right.
Imagine a world where skilled craftspeople,
Okay.
blacksmiths, weavers, carpenters
Right.
become highly sought after
Yeah.
for their ability to create essential items.
So instead of Silicon Valley, we might have Blacksmith Boulevard,
Yeah, I like that.
where the most successful individuals are those who can create practical, durable goods.
Exactly.
It's a very different definition of innovation, isn't it?
It is. Innovation wouldn't disappear.
Okay.
It would simply take on a different form.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on digital advancements,
Right.
we might see communities refining techniques for building sturdier homes,
Okay.
developing more efficient farming methods, or mastering the use of simple machines,
Right.
like levers and pulleys,
Yeah.
to amplify human effort.
It makes you realize that innovation isn't just about creating something entirely new.
Yeah.
But also about constantly improving upon existing knowledge and techniques.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating to think how the pace and direction of human ingenuity would be influenced by the absence of technology as we know it.
It really is.
But let's zoom out a bit.
Okay.
We've talked about politics,
Right.
society,
Uh-huh.
and the economy.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious about the bigger picture,
Okay.
the impact on the environment
Yeah.
and our relationship with the natural world.
That's where things get particularly intriguing.
Okay.
Imagine a world where exploration is limited
Okay.
to what you can reach on foot or by simple boats.
Oh, yeah.
Oceans, mountains,
Yeah.
and vast deserts would become formidable barriers,
Right.
shrinking the world in a way.
Okay.
It's fascinating to consider how differently human civilizations might have developed across the globe with limited interaction and exchange.
It really makes you wonder if certain regions might have remained isolated for much longer,
Yeah,
perhaps even preserving unique cultures and ecosystems
it's possible.
that were lost in our timeline
Yeah,
due to globalization.
certainly a possibility.
And speaking of ecosystems,
Yeah,
the environmental impact is another fascinating aspect to consider.
for sure.
Without the pollution of factories and modern transportation,
Right.
we can assume the air and water would be significantly cleaner.
Absolutely.
Resources would likely be used more sustainably out of necessity.
Yeah.
And there would be a much deeper understanding of natural cycles and the importance of living in harmony with the environment.
I think so.
So a world without technology might be a win for the planet.
It's tempting to think so.
It's tempting to think so, right?
Yeah.
But wouldn't there also be significant challenges?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, what happens when natural disasters strike?
Right.
Or when resources become scarce?
Yeah.
Would we be equipped to handle those challenges
That's a really good point.
without the tools and knowledge that technology provides?
Yeah, that's an important point.
Yeah.
Without modern medicine,
Right.
sanitation, and disaster response systems,
Yeah.
communities would be far more vulnerable to natural threats.
Right.
Even something as simple as a prolonged drought
Yeah.
or a disease outbreak
Right.
could have devastating consequences.
So it's a complex trade-off,
Yeah.
a healthier planet overall,
Mm-hmm.
but also greater vulnerability to the forces of nature.
It is.
It really highlights the interconnectedness of human progress and the environment,
Absolutely.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
We can't just focus on one without considering the other.
We can't.
But let's switch gears once more.
Okay.
We've been focusing a lot on the tangible aspects of this tech-free world.
Right.
Now I want to delve into something a bit more abstract.
Okay.
The impact on human thought,
Okay.
creativity,
Yeah.
and our understanding of the world.
Yeah.
The philosophical implications are perhaps the most fascinating aspect
Wait.
of this entire thought experiment.
Okay.
Imagine a world where you're not constantly bombarded with information
Right.
from screens and devices.
Yeah.
Instead,
Yeah.
you're surrounded by the rhythms of nature,
Right.
the cycles of day and night,
Hmm.
the changing seasons.
It's like a complete rewiring of consciousness.
Yeah.
Without technology to distract us,
Right.
would we develop a deeper connection to the natural world?
Possibly.
A heightened awareness of our place within it?
That's a compelling idea.
Yeah.
Without the constant stimulation of technology,
Right.
our senses might become more attuned
Okay.
to subtle changes in our surroundings.
Right.
We might become more observant of natural patterns,
Yeah.
leading to a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all things.
Instead of scrolling through social media,
Yeah.
we might be studying the stars
Yeah.
or learning the language of birds. It's a completely different way of engaging with the world.
Yeah.
And think about the potential impact on philosophical thought
Okay.
without the distractions of technology.
Right.
Would we have more time and mental space
Yeah.
to contemplate the big questions, the existential dilemmas that
Yeah.
have fascinated humans for millennia?
You're right.
Would questions about purpose,
Right.
morality,
Mhm.
and the meaning of life take on even greater significance
Yeah.
in a world stripped of the distractions of modern technology?
It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
Without the constant noise of the digital world,
Right.
we might find ourselves drawn to explore these deeper,
Yeah.
more introspective questions.
Exactly.
Perhaps philosophies that emphasize simplicity,
Mhm.
balance,
Yeah.
and living in harmony with nature
Right.
would emerge as dominant schools of thought.
It's fascinating to think
Yeah.
how the absence of technology might lead to a philosophical and spiritual renaissance,
It really is.
a reorientation of human values and priorities.
And let's not forget about the impact on creativity.
Oh, of course not.
Without technology as a crutch,
Yeah.
humans would have to rely on their own ingenuity and imagination
Right.
for entertainment,
Mhm.
storytelling,
Yeah.
and artistic expression.
Absolutely.
Imagine a world where handcrafted art,
Yeah.
oral storytelling,
Uh-huh.
and community gatherings
Right.
become the primary outlets for creativity and shared experiences.
Exactly.
Every piece of art,
Yeah.
every story,
Mm.
every song
Right.
would be imbued with the unique spirit of its creator
Absolutely.
and the community it came from.
Yeah.
It's a completely different way of experiencing and valuing art, isn't it?
It challenges our assumptions
Yeah.
about what constitutes art and entertainment.
Right.
Instead of passively consuming digital media, people would be actively involved in creating and sharing their own cultural expressions.
It's like the ultimate DIY culture.
I like that.
And within that culture,
Yeah.
there's a strong emphasis on tradition,
Mm-hmm.
on passing down knowledge and skills
Right.
from one generation to the next.
Exactly.
It makes you realize how technology can sometimes create a disconnect
Yes.
between the past and the present.
That's a profound observation.
Yeah.
It's worth considering how this potential disconnect might impact our sense of identity,
Okay.
our understanding of history, and
Mhm.
our ability to learn from the past.
You know, This whole conversation is making me rethink my relationship with technology.
Really?
I'm starting to see it less as an indispensable part of life and more as a tool.
Yeah.
A powerful tool.
It is a powerful tool.
That can be used for good or for ill.
That's right.
I think that's a healthy perspective.
It is.
It's not about demonizing technology.
No.
But rather about using it consciously and thoughtfully, understanding its limitations,
Right.
and making sure it serves our needs,
Yeah.
rather than the other way around. Welcome back to our deep dive into a world without technology. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? We've explored so many facets of this hypothetical world, from the political landscape to the rhythm of daily life.
Yeah, it has. It certainly challenged our preconceived notions of progress and even what it means to be human.
Absolutely.
It
We've uncovered both potential benefits and drawbacks to this tech-free existence. But I think the most important takeaway isn't about finding definitive answers,
Right.
but about sparking meaningful questions.
Exactly. And perhaps the most crucial question this deep dive raises is this. What kind of world do we want to create for ourselves?
That's a powerful question.
Yeah.
It shifts our focus from simply speculating about what might have been to actively shaping the future we want to see.
Precisely. If we can learn from this thought experiment, if we can integrate those lessons about connection, sustainability, and mindful living into our own lives, then perhaps we can build a future that's both technologically advanced and deeply human.
I love that idea. A future where technology enhances our lives without dictating them. But how do we get there? It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the challenges we face.
You're right. It's not a simple task, but I think it starts with small individual choices.
Okay.
Being more mindful of how we use technology.
Okay.
Being more intentional about creating space for connection and creativity. Being more aware of the impact our choices have on the environment and on each other.
So it's not about rejecting technology outright,
Right.
but about being more conscious and deliberate in how we integrate it into our lives.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that technology is a tool.
Okay.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
Right.
The power lies in our hands to choose how we wield it.
It's a powerful reminder that we're not just passive consumers of technology. We're active creators of the world we want to live in. And that brings me to a final question I'd like to pose to you and to everyone listening out there.
Oh.
If you could choose one aspect of this tech-free world to bring into your own life, what would it be?
Wow.
Would it be the slower pace of life,
Yeah.
the deeper connection to nature, the emphasis on community and face-to-face interaction?
That's a great question to reflect on.
Yeah.
It encourages us to identify the values that resonate most deeply with us and to find ways to embody those values in our daily lives, even within the context of a technologically advanced world.
Exactly. It's not about trying to recreate a bygone era,
Right.
but about taking inspiration from the past to inform our choices in the present.
Well said. And perhaps by embracing some of those timeless values,
Yeah.
simplicity, connection, presence, we can create a future that's not only innovative, but also sustainable, fulfilling, and truly human.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
And on that note, we'll bring this deep dive to a close. But the conversation doesn't have to end here. We encourage you to continue exploring these ideas, to challenge your own assumptions, and to share your insights with others.
Because ultimately, the most valuable knowledge is the kind we share.
Right.
The kind that sparks new ideas and inspires us to create a better world together.
Thank you for joining us on this thought-provoking journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.